in and out. But here's the thing.
I can see you at the background.
Because we can't tell people and see what basically when they say that's what I'm saying to the blocks.
But no, we are casual. We don't start from broadcast already. So make it serious. And that's why I told them that it's casual. You see, just a casual business meeting with the award-winning personality of the blah, 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 blah. So don't worry. I'm done to them. So that like this is
Jack.
Listen for me.
the main course will come another time. Yes, Elika. Now the driver will pick you.
Yes?
Yes, he's here already.
The guy called Wisdom.
Yeah, nine.
Yeah, Wisdom, yeah.
Yes, Wisdom pick him up. Because we will look for him, but we will be so busy.
Okay.
We don't know say no, so that's something that's so intense. Whenever
Your brothers are with you now.
Yes, we are here now. Okay. So bye-bye, take care. That's all Wisdom time.
Yeah.
Not let go.
If you're there for campaign and politics, then you left for talk. You never use this opportunity as platform. In the field?
Let me see. I'm trying to forget.
I understand that, but you're here. The world knows you're here, so you might as well participate. Oh, you will let your now say, oh, look at mommy. Oh. I'll tell them first thing, without the link, stay ideated.
Yes, sure.
Nice, very well done. We'll pull up now, tell her, see, any side day they survive. This one, there was one time you will never remember because you know me that way then. But there was one time I met you in Tooting. You go by the laundrette, you drive one E-class Mercedes.
Yeah, okay.
By Churchill Junction.
Yes, I can go to the because no, not to that area they can go na Mercedes I can go there because the Mercedes are Tooting.
Yeah, Tooting is okay.
Yeah, I can go from the parts. Yes. You know, you're not bad boy.
I remember. I said, look at this one. No, we chatted. He said, you tracksuit.
Now, when you don't say that, I mean usual thing. Now, once I know the work,
Yes.
I go casually. I like trying for the casual. You know, like only one to go meeting and every time I'm there.
Yeah, of course.
But all the time.
Friday night was good. Thank you very much for coming. Oh, by the way, what time is check-in so we can plan backwards?
5, don't worry. For you, not 7. Yes. Business is 7. No, not 7 flight that you always put on. Business is 7. Because we say from here, we don't go and chill it. 9 are next to the airport.
Okay, but then get traditional tea.
9, look, that I want to do. What you want to do?
Because this one hungry, you don't declare.
No, they declare. Okay, well, let me still the look. Look, this is all African.
9 ones.
Okra
and fufu.
Okra and fufu, and then they look no more okra fufu, and then kontomeri and what other mixed ones then.
So for the but now the hotel will go eat, huh?
No, then they will eat one on that. No, but they don't go shame there. But it's done one of their main African restaurant. Down they call them bus stop. Opposite Paloma.
Yeah. I think I saw something.
Yes. The lady in a Liberia lady were married to the
fair lady.
But not to the one you talk.
What's the one you talk?
I know there was Cynthia and I.
Yeah, Cynthia, yes.
Cynthia and I mean, men and I don't men and I got 2001 before you go marry one South African. I mean, if you call her, you go tell you, hey! Then I'll be there, sit and get now and crispy, you know, and hey, that one is the way they give me problem. After that, I will put on to you.
Nice. To have in the house that you have of Rich and True Lumley and everything else, we knew it all. Because of you, a lot of people were inspired. So thank you very much.
I'm going to give him thanks and praise, for his favor. Yes, Stephen. I'll accommodate you. Go ahead. Yes, we are. We are on Facebook Live.
Okay. All right. I'll phone by then.
You are welcome.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Mine is not showing. I don't understand why. But anyway, carry on.
It should be on. It should be. Maybe it's your phone refreshing, but it should be on because we all. You have the recording. So it
doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
It has not been easy, but all of us in life, there is a purpose to a life. And that purpose is a design by the great architect of the universe, which we call the Almighty. And nobody, I believe, nobody can alter that DNA that the Almighty has prepared. As designed, through His design in all of us. That's why we are all unique individuals. We all can do the same things, but in different and special ways. Absolutely. But we are all unique. We're all unique by our style, our standard, the things we like, things we hate, but we all still would breathe the same air and survive.
Yes.
It has not been very easy. As I said to you, I was told by Motorola when I wanted to start the campaign. He said, "Seal, you are threading too far for your time." He said, "It's not going to be easy." This was one of the directors of Motorola who came to Sierra Leone. I want to make this very clear today, we were about 40 applicants for the distributorship of Motorola for Africa. 40 different countries. I'm not talking about Salon. Salon, I was the only one there. 40. So the man went to 40 different African countries, interviewing all the candidates. Last, he came to Freetown. Before he left, he said, "We will call. You will hear from us as usual." To buttress it, I won that franchise.
Yes, you did.
Which was for everyone to see, because they came and made Sierra Leone the virtual headquarters
for all of
African
Africa
business.
Yeah, absolutely.
We took it and took it to a level. We won contract in Gambia, we won contract in Guinea, we won contract in Senegal. I was leaving Sierra Leone to fly to those presentations and winning them in the midst of Phillips, Kenwood, Yeusu, all of these other guys.
And why do you think you won it?
Well, again, one, I was able to convince those African leaders because I was coming from an African touch, and they see the aggressiveness in me, and they saw something different that, if we can have somebody like this now within our proximity. He made an example, like one of them. He says, to 6 of us who were bidding in the room, he said, "You are from Holland, Kenwood, Phillips. You're all from there. You are somewhere else. You are from Finland. And there was one more person, but somewhere in Europe." And then he started now breaking it down. He said it takes 6 hours minimum for you to get to our country, to where we are. Mr. Smith, representing the same, or as another company, another franchise, but will take 40 minutes to 50 minutes between Banjul and Sierra Leone. He said, "So if I have any troubleshooting, or I have any problems. Because what we want is a communication that will be serviced, maintained in real time. So when we need somebody, you don't have to take 1 week to prepare to fly to come and get somebody. That is on that premise. They believe that in the open tender, we will give it to Mr. Smith. We don't want to go back.
So, is it okay if I could just interject
Yes, go ahead.
on that point? Now, what you've told the world, that's available on Facebook, is that because of time, in terms of the use of time,
Yes.
somebody thought it well that, I don't care whatever the other struggles are, but when it comes to time, I'm going to give it to this person.
Because it's more accessible and easily accessible to us.
So, so we have in this social business conversation, casual, to just share a few nuggets with people and whoever they are, and somebody might send it to some leaders, whoever they are. If you won a contract back then on the basis of your presentation skills and everything else, but the most important thing you've just said is they thought, well, because of time, you take 40 minutes to come and troubleshoot with us. Okay. So let's think about what we are doing right now, as with respect to Sierra Leone. Let's isolate the most important asset we all have, which is time. Time, this time that we're going to spend here, we will never get back. We might watch it on Facebook. It's not going to come back. But if we if we lose money and lose this wallet and somebody steals it and whatever, and there's 20 pounds in that, I could make this 20 pounds again. But I will never have this hour again.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let me explain what our problems are, and then probably during this conversation we might come to some solution. If it takes you to get your people in the diaspora, that includes Africans that are away as well. Okay, or people that are in Africa as well. If it takes you 2-3 flights to get back to the place you want to help, that's a problem. If it takes you 1 hour to land in an airport where there is only just one person, one plane, but it takes you 1 hour to get through, that's a problem. If it takes you to put somebody's life at risk in what is effectively a glorified canoe to cross the Atlantic Ocean after them having flown 7 hours, 8 hours, some people 21 hours, you have a problem. If it takes you 10 miles from your tourist resort, from your tourist resort, if it takes you 3 hours to make it into the other side of town, you have a problem. You're wasting people's time. You're wasting people's time. I have taught and shared with.
You're welcome, Mr. Stevens. Mr. Stevens is one of our directors.
Hello, Mr. Stevens.
You're welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you. Thanks.
Excellent. Just have to sit. Anyone you choose, go choose.
Look at, when did you call? When did you call? Just now. Where were you, rather, is my question.
I was just at Osu.
Right.
That's right.
Well, look how quick you got here.
Yeah.
It's an impossibility in Sierra Leone unless you're standing outside. You understand? You don't call and say, wait, officer, I'll check. No, unless you're outside the building already. So if we take the most important asset, which is the asset of time that we've all agreed that we will never get back, and we abuse it in such a manner, how do we expect to return on that asset? What do you say to that?
My dear colleague and brother in entrepreneurship, that is one area where Africa still has very serious problem with time management. It is engulf all the facets of what we do. Even our own personal time we can no longer manage. So how do we manage others' time is another double trouble. Yeah. And we have not seemed to be making headway. I think the reason for that is a matter of choice. Those we have placed in responsible positions that we expect so much from fail in their principles and mannerism in the way they do things. Again, why I reference choice, because they find themselves in position not by merit. Because if people find themselves in a position not by merit, they have to do things on their own volition. On their own volition. And how they feel, how they want to come to work, how they want to come to your meeting, how they want to come and see you. They just feel I can come and get my way or bulldoze my way because I'm already comfortable in what I'm doing, because there is no consequence. No consequence in the interaction. So whether I come and talk to you, whether you talk to me, you agree to work with me or not to work with me, I don't care. I don't give a hoot. So they have that cowboy mentality into entrepreneurship. And that is what has eaten into African businesses today. That's why many are collapsing. There's no legacy that we leave behind for others to be mentored or to at least take up from.
Jesus.
Institutional memory.
Exactly.
Institutional memory.
Businessmen are politicians, politicians are businessmen. Because we should know that I always believe what my grandfather used to say, look, 16, a man who got me up. He said, commerce rule the world. He said, you see, I'm a trader here. I am selling textiles. He said, but this is the same textile. The funds I have used to educate many of your people today, my wives, relatives, families, and children, it's from this textile. I did not go to school that much, but I learned trade from the family background.
Okay, so what we're going to be doing here, I think now we've got a pattern, because this was not pre-arranged or whatever, is Seal is here, we're in his office, knowledgeable, proven, the comeback kid over and over, whatever country, he comes back, he rises up, whatever you do, he's going to be there. So what we're going to be doing, I know my position. I am the young one who, one of my mentors from afar, from a distance, was Seal. So it's important. What we're going to be doing is when he highlights things like he highlighted time, and now he's highlighted commerce, then I'll respond to it. I think that's the best way.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I think that's what the interaction is on.
Yes.
The floor is still open, Mr.
Please.
So you can engage because it's a casual.
It's a casual
meeting, and we're on Face Live.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
So when you talked about what your grandfather
I
said,
wanted the laptop too.
it reminds me of something I discussed
Because,
yesterday with His
the
Excellency
boys
here
packed full and
in
everything.
Ghana.
It's an
And
office section. It's not pre-arranged.
we talked a lot. Was it yesterday?
Sorry, Mama.
What day is it today then?
You even need to go home.
Yeah. But
Too much money to come.
yes. But we talked about a privileged meeting that I had with Lord Rothschild at his house in Robbins Manor. They were poor. They were just traders who would buy something, give it to somebody there, sell it, make it happen. It's just then one time they realized,
Power this for me.
they realized how important it was to take a pound or a judgment, whatever it was back then, and make it two.
Praise
And
God
the
for it.
easiest way.
You browse for a power so that you don't go. Carry on.
The easiest way
We are
to have done that is through commerce, through loaning monies and everything. So we're now in an enlightened stage of life more than ever before. More than ever before. Even the guy in the village knows his position today.
That's right.
Because WhatsApp is telling him. Somebody's going to speak something. Facebook is telling him. It's a serious time. It's a serious time where it's a serious time where we need to make commerce. Because it's not government that deals with it. As a matter of fact, government just destroys.
Exactly.
But if you have a conducive commercial environment, here's what you do. You have people that will come back to your country and build projects, opportunities. Then here's what happens. Because they do it so well, they raise the profile. I did say you would talk about things, but I don't want to forget this word, so I write this down. So we'll talk about that because we talked about that before. But I wore this shirt on purpose, and I will talk about that when you start talking about conflict. So what you do is you create an environment, and one of the most important things about that environment is it must save people time. I don't want to leave London and go to Sierra Leone, and it's going to take me 3 days to even get to where I want to go.
Absolutely.
Why?
Ability.
But you think you're sharp by creating that handicap to people, but then you're cutting your own throat. Because whereas we could create that opportunity and people would work, and when they work, guess what happens? We pay them a wage, they have to pay taxes.
Absolutely.
we pay them a wage and they have to pay taxes, which solves your headache. So we've got to focus today. Today, I had 2 challenges on Facebook. I'm posting the pictures of Accra. And promoting Accra. And saying, you know what? When I was a teenager, I was in this country one time.
I saw it.
You saw it. I said, I was in this hotel that was
7.
Yeah. I said, Tracy, you're killing me.
But I have to.
No.
Some of you have been doing it for a very long time. Come on. My investment went well.
Exactly.
The only thing is that it's my dividend. I'm only eating small. I want it more.
No, but here's the thing though. And I posted it. And from Wednesday last week, we were in London at a meeting. And we're in this room, I think we talked about it on Friday.
Okay.
Where it was a very high-powered meeting. Coincidentally, the 3 speakers in that meeting, 3 keynote speakers in this multi-billion dollar law firm, multi-billion. The 3 keynote speakers were Sierra Leoneans.
Wow. You told me that.
So that meeting, somebody who I'm not going to reveal who they are said, the problem.
Confidential.
Yes. He said, the problem.
Just like I refuse to reveal you.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not because let me just buttress from that point you made there.
Yes.
Many people do not know we know each other because they were not from our generation, and those who were coming up, they don't know. Even when they see us, they only see us in London in
Facebook.
Ceremonies, like the award, like
yes.
organize things like that.
Yes.
So they don't know, except when they were shocked to see on Facebook, they see me and they say, ah, these guys, do they know themselves? Then you say to them, said, look, that guy was my mentor. I was shocked. I'm happy. Look, it's a grace. But we do not talk about things. As I always tell Stevens, I say, Stevens, the things we do is from, I've been in Ghana, it's been thick and thick. It's one of our directors. You understand? I've told him, I don't talk about people. Because when you make people as investment, they become like a crop to a soil. You will just wait for your assistance. Correct. You see, because that is a lifetime investment when you invest on people. Property can decay. Business can decay.
You see Kabasa Lodge.
Human being. Never. Never.
Very true.
Absolutely. So this person said to me, he said, Reg, I know how you're doing your bit for Sierra Leone. He said, but you know the frustration. He said, our people are wicked to each other.
Yes.
They're wicked. I took that with a pinch of salt till Saturday night when the same was revealed to me. He says, you know why your country's not going ahead? I said, why? He said, your people are wicked. What kind of life is this? What kind of life is this? And for everybody that's watching, hey, Seal, you talk about mentor. A lot of people will hit you on Facebook, oh, I want you to be my mentor. But they fail to do one thing. Please, may I explain?
Go ahead. You're free. Come on.
Okay.
We have no secret. A secret is not a secret if it is not to be revealed.
Yes, let me explain. I had a mentor who was he retired at the age of 35. His name, and I'll say life, that's right, was Bill O'Brien. I say was because he died age 52 of cancer. Bill O'Brien, his hourly income, in the 90s was about $10,000 an hour. He owned banks. He was a shareholder in the biggest travel agency company in America back then. He owned real estate, lived on 108-acre land, and so on. Bill took a shining to me, and I'll tell you what the proof of the pudding is. If you look in my office in England, I've got something there called freedom. On his deathbed when he was dying of cancer, he told his wife, Bill was 52, I was in my 20s, mid-20s. Wow. He says, take that freedom tag, give it to Reg, tell him to always fight for his freedom. But for those people that want mentors, here's what a mentor is not. Your mentor is not your bank.
Exactly.
Your mentor is not your bank. Bill O'Brien, we used to sit there and once a month he would invite me to a place called Waterman's Bay. Sit down. We'll sit there. He'll park his white Mercedes or his Ferrari or whatever it is. And I'll come in my little car in America. And we'll order food because we're hungry. We'll order food. We're trying to change where we can African culture. You know what he will do when the bill comes, Stephen? Yes. You will have to pay your way through life. I get fed up when people say, oh, I want you to mentor me. Next word, when you said, okay, fine. Is, but can I have some money? Jeez!
That's a loser.
Exactly.
And I'll conclude on that side and we talk about conflict. Yeah. That's where people abuse access.
Exactly.
I've never asked him for all his life, whatever. I've never asked him, oh, can you... No. If it works, naturally...
It will come by itself.
It will come by itself. Okay? So can we talk about conflict and conflict resolution? And you can use personal
But nothing say because you know accidentally facts you. You know, this guy has a way of playing with words, you know. But I always, you know, I've been keeping tab on him from when he was a very young man. So I still understand this, you know. Yes, I like to maneuver.
Yeah.
His rhetoricism, his, you know, the constructiveness of it. How he plays semantics with words. It's very good at that. That is, I give to him.
No, of course not. That's a different arrangement.
But you need that. You see, we need more of them. That is what we are saying. Very few of us learned from those that today maybe some have gone beyond. Some of us are here together with them. We've learned from some of them. They have the opportunity, at least because they knew the crowd we were following. So they wanted to be like us. That's what people again should understand. Sometimes you don't separate yourself from people because you don't like people or because you want to be conservative or because you want to be proud. No. There may be things you will share in common ideologically, but socially in your interactive format, there may be things that you may differ from very greatly. Very greatly, because your style may not be my style. But we agree to disagree, as we always say. In conflict, we are coming to the point of conflict resolution. You see. So, we need people like this to speak more in the African platform. You know, today, there is flying all over the place. They are calling him. You know how much for a session he has got now for me, but because I have a credit with him. In the past, the credit line is still
It's still live.
Doesn't expire.
You see? So it's still there. And now somebody like this is about 20,000, 30,000 pounds. I tell people them. I tell people them. He speaks for Barclays and all that. You think this? They just call anybody to just come speak in this kind of place like that? The man is an award winner in a foreign ground. It's like me anyway. When he does his own presentation at the Excel there, like last year when we're touching on that, when I was invited in England, I want to talk about touching on that because we will be dealing with conflict resolution. I was telling Stephen, I was very, very proud, but at the same time dismayed of the fact that this was a global conference for terrorism and security globally, where the Prime Minister of UK, the Lord General of the Armed Forces, NATO, BOSS, Europol, Interpol, and key other note speakers. They were all there. And for the conference, there was an exhibition, but for the conference, you have to be clear and have to be selected to come into that room. We did that in Alscott. All, my dear, was the only African in security that was clear by their toppers. I don't want to call the name, by their toppers security. Even 1 week to the conference, my house was monitored.
See who visits you.
1 week to the conference, my lady said to me, I see some cars parking at the down the road there. They come here, they are watching. I said, it's okay, just forget about it. I said, maybe it's for the neighborhood. Because the children there, they were getting into my page, they getting into these problems, you know, amongst, and they had stabbed 1 or 2 young. I just put it like that, just to neutralize it, but I knew, because they told me. And I know that's the procedure. So we went there. I couldn't find not a single African security professional to be in there. Even when I had 5 minutes to talk, which was like 5 hours. I mean, in front of those people, home office, or locally, apart from the external ones, it was a big, big, big privilege. I told him that was my point. I said, I feel honored and privileged to be with you here to say something, to share knowledge, because you wanted background of the African terrain, how security plays, and what are the haphazard aspects, you know, the troubleshootings within national security, social security, public and private sector security. Spoke about all of that. I said, but my problem is that the knowledge and privilege I've shared with you, how would I be able to transmit it? Because I will be doing it alone. Because I wish I had few more Africans who made that grade to have been invited, because they don't want to know which country you come from.
Oh no!
If you are the best in your country,
you're the
but
best.
they go by your integrity and credibility. And I can say here, as we said, from the surgeon I had in Yoruba, 30 years ago, create a worldwide profile for me. Because in Sierra Leone, we were doing all the embassies, American Embassy, Australian Embassy, Red Cross, United Nations, EEC, all their personal security coming to the war was in my hands. With the expatriates, 5 expatriates for 10 years were working there. I was very proud, and they know that. They told me that. They said, you must have had a solid background. You know what you're talking about. They said, but as you've said, as I tried to close on that point, I felt bad that any time I go to this conference, I do not see our people participating. Again, we came to the point we made earlier. Those who they may choose by government to go may not be those who possess the necessary prerequisite. So when they are screened, they said, we cannot accept. Government sent candidates. They said they have a lot of candidates who came from other governments, but they cannot pass the clearance, the intelligence and due diligence test. They cannot. So it is sad. As I said, we come to the same point. I do hope this will get to some of them, because since I've been here, I don't like television, I don't like radio, you know that very well. They call me a lot, but I refuse to go. I don't want to be misconstrued. So I do my consultancy privately, confidentially with the companies, with people that we work with. Because again, as he says, Africa, we still don't have a clear-cut agenda for entrepreneurship, for business, for investment, and for security. Everything has been politicized, so we must depoliticize it. I will say it very, very, very clearly. To even government in our host country here, which is Ghana, Sierra Leone as well, my motherland, I do hope our new president will take the cue from what President Kufuor said this morning, that African leaders are not doing much for Africa than, they're not doing what is expected from them, and that is true. We must depoliticize business, entrepreneurship, investment, because businessmen do not like politics. You drive investment away.
Oh God, preach.
By creating
preach
a route that you want them to go, an artificial route for them is not real, because he said it in one of his tapes. I'll play it later. He wants to be in an environment where he can feel free to do what he wants to do. He doesn't have to pay this to get this document, that registration, or that clearance, etc., etc., etc. You can do that where you are sitting down on your computer and everything is done for you. We are now coming to the e-commerce age. But again, we are in the e-commerce age. The world is automated. We are automated.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We still don't realize the fact that we are automated. That's the only way that society mobilizes itself now, through the digital technology, the Internet of Things. We must understand what it is all about. 21st century, way forward. We must understand what it's all about. Other than that, we will fail. Security forms the bedrock and foundation of everything, both personal and business, we do in life.
Very true.
That's why maybe people may not like us. Because they will not like the truth. And security
Truth hurts.
borders on the truth. Just like business.
Wow.
He works for the British Foreign Office.
Yes.
And he opened, the one who opened the feed here.
Okay.
He was the first one that opened the feed here for Ghana. I met him when I came to. Well, he was the one who took me hand to hand to meet President Kufuor. Because then he was the financial advisor.
Oh yes, I had the picture of you guys.
Yes, he was the advisor. He was like him. Anyway, it wasn't going on. When I came, he took me to that. So I did not just find myself where I had to find myself through politics. No. Through the fabric of a foundation that we nurtured together. See, I was coming to Ghana. We met first of all in Nigeria Road in London. He said, Coach Akadigo, I hear that we don't be here now. You want to go reopen your business. He said, Ghana is a good place to come. And then from there, I probably said, I'm going to come. And then when I come, they would pick me, etc., etc. Then they took me and handed me over to President Kufuor. So I came in not through political doors. I came through social doors.
Networking.
Social networking.
That you didn't abuse when he was there.
Exactly.
You didn't abuse the access when you had it. Otherwise, they're not going to think about you.
And he trusted as well. He trusted and had confidence in the relationship and in me to be able to do that presentation. Because then he was consultant for World Bank as well, IMF, and the DFID. And he was the assistant to Baroness Choka then.
No.
Yes. Never was. Baroness Choka in England then. When she was traveling, and then when Blair came here, he was the one who led her.
Can I talk to the people about
Yes.
about
Go ahead now, sir.
again on that point that so maybe people right now you're hearing about Desmond Wood, who's my cousin, but unless Sila just said what he said, most people, in fact, I dare say 99% of the people would not have heard of Desmond Wood.
They're not assuming, yes. Just like you were.
Yes, but here's why. Now we go back to, life's a circle. Now we go back to the top. Here's why you would never hear about somebody like that. Because I'm talking about myself, not even Seal, that expose ourselves one way or the other on social media. What you do is you attack. So people like what you've just heard of will keep themselves private. You will never hear of them. You will never have access because they don't want to be attacked. Sorry?
They don't need the hassle.
They don't need the hassle.
They don't need it.
They don't need the hassle. That's a very good point. They don't want to be attacked, so they just go on quietly with their business. You never know. You will never get what we call sababu through them because you don't know how to get in touch. Because the ones that do, you curse, you say, what have you done for Sierra Leone? You haven't even researched what we've done for Sierra Leone. You just keep blah, blah. So let's talk about conflict.
You just start from watching on this, you want to deal with the conflict.
Okay, so it's a question then. What would you think is the best way to resolve, the absolute best way to resolve conflict in any environment, but most importantly, We could even talk about our personal beef recently. So, you know, no, but, and how, no, I think, it's important to bring it to life.
No, but that is social.
No, but it's still conflict, isn't it?
Well, we're going to come to dealing with the same issue because we can say conflict in categories. We need
Of
to
course.
distinguish in defining.
Of course.
Because we have business conflict, we have social conflict, we
Personal.
have personal conflict.
Yeah.
So, what we were talking about was social conflict.
Yes, but I think, no, my point is just to guide.
What's that? Oh, no, I was. Let me go back again. Another point for her. It was not conflict. It was just misunderstanding.
Yes, which is conflict. But here's the thing.
It's not conflict.
Okay, but here's the thing.
It's not the same.
Okay, let me guide your thinking, because what I mean by that is, I know you would arrive at the point because there's one thing that sorts it all out, and I want you to come up with that one thing because you know it well.
We've already touched on this earlier on. You see, you want to take it now officially.
Yeah, no, so people can learn
From
how
my
to solve
mind.
conflict. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I said to you that to become a solution provider in terms of dealing with per se conflict in its mechanism or requiring conflict resolution, you must have that foundation in you. There must be something which stands as the foundation. A house is never built without a foundation.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? So, a relationship that provokes a conflict or a situation that provokes a conflict must have a base for that resolution from tested scenarios or individuals.
So, like I say, if you look at life, really, when you strip it all down, life has very basic points.
Exactly.
Very basic points. It's like there's two answers in this world that you will always get. Seriously. I don't care how long the paragraph is, I don't care how long the letter is, how long the email was. There's two words. One is called yes, the other is no. The only way you're going to get that is by doing this. Talking. Where we make our mistakes is we say, I say this but me. Then I sit down, I build myself a house of stories of seal.
Yeah.
You understand?
That's the African mentality.
I say this about me. Then Cyril said, build a house of full of. Let me put the files together of what he said. Instead of saying, Stephen, let's talk. What is it you don't understand about that? Oh, you say you standoffish. Something's going on there. Something's going on in the spirit.
Don't worry, the man is watching. But it's recording.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, we have the recording.
Oh, fantastic.
On the cameras.
Fantastic.
No, we're editing. Everything is great.
Yeah, good. So you say, Stephen, what is it that you don't like about me? When I call you, don't pick up your phone. I say, Stephen, when I'm home, I put my phone on the side. When I go to work, the only time I leave my cubicle, honestly, is to go to the bathroom. In fact, Stephen, my phone does not even work in my office. It's not bad mind. You understand? So, oh, okay. I thought you were ignoring me. No, I'm not ignoring you. But if we don't talk about it, you're never going to get it. I would go to a party, they would say, oh, it's you. Yeah, okay. There was one Stephen that came from Ghana that said something nasty about you. Then I would say, really? What, that one? Next time I go to Accra, I'm going to go see to him. For nothing. One of the things is, Barack Obama, as much as he's a black person, or mixed race, one of the things that he said that really attracted me to him, really did, he said,
I will sit down with the Iranians and talk to them without preconditions. You know how powerful that is?
It's a powerful statement.
Because everybody is a human being. And if you're going to create conditions before you talk, hey,
You have a problem.
So we come back to our own scenario in terms of what would we put our situation on. It comes to the categories, whether it's a private conflict,
Yes.
resolution
Yes.
scenario,
Yes.
or social,
Yes.
or business.
Yes.
So again,
Yes.
that is what will depict.
Yes. With my person.
The,
No, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much.
That is what will depict the methodology in how the approach will be. Because they all may be conflict, but they all may not warrant the same solution.
No. I agreed.
It is like a product.
Yes.
I have luteal, medial,
Yes.
and high tier.
Yes.
You bring me to security where they in the global world know why we fight.
Of course, the engineer.
Why we are in war. Why we are in a war. Okay? They know we do not have the ability to find a solution, a mechanism to do away with it. So they leave us to continue to fight because what? They want something.
Yeah.
If they don't want something from us, they will not even bother to talk about our conflict. So the point we are saying here is that when people begin to talk about your conflict, irrespective of which circumstance, either it wants something from that conflict, or, as I say, it will benefit from that conflict, from either way, from the negative outcome.
Yes. Agreed.
Because one solution will either have to be negative or
Or
positive.
positive. Absolutely. Yes or no.
Yes or no.
That's it. Don't change.
So no, but the point is that
No,
you came round the business and entrepreneurship perspective, and I dealt with it from the security.
Yes.
At the end of the day, which forms the foundation at the
Yes.
end. Because no matter what resolution I come up with in solving that conflict, how secure would it be? How long would it last? It's another parameter to deal with. How long would it last?
Absolutely.
Some conflicts are better left to die on their own rather than try to solve it and it became even worse.
That's what you call abandoning the problem.
Try to cover it. Certain people are known now to be very bad peacemakers. It's just like, why is the world failing in being peacemakers? The organizations are failing. UN is failing. The type of people, the choice of people that they send to deal with conflict resolution cannot meet the reality or expectation of the challenges. They cannot. Because they themselves are lacking the experience and exposure of dealing with even their own personal self. As we said finally, you must be able to solve your own problem before you can deal with others' problem and even problems that comes to you. If you cannot solve your own personal conflict between yourself, your God, your vision, your aspirations, your thoughts, and your ego, if you cannot deal with all of these, I mean, who are you to go and tell somebody else to pull the specks in his own eye?
And on that point, I discussed just the other day, Jesus, that's who I believe in. You know, you can believe in Muhammad and everything else. No, and that's fine because, you know, I just want to clarify is that the house of Abraham is where there was Ishmael and Isaac. One is a Christian, one's a Muslim. So they all come from the same house. the issue that we have is we haven't sorted out the conflicts. Okay. But he said, help the poor. I'm paraphrasing. But do not be one of them. So, how does that tie in what you just said? You have to first be, so you can help.
That is it. Soluble. How can you carry out the experiment?
You have to first be, so you can help. In a nutshell.
So it brings to your point again when you say that people only want a relationship, or when you want to talk about mentoring, at the end of the day, it comes to a price. But they prefer the physical price than the spiritual approbation of the quality of the wisdom they will derive from you or from that mentor. Because that is the role of that mentor. But people now, if you say, let me mentor you for 4 or 5 years and study your performance and direct you, or I can mentor you, but now just give you 10,000. You say, but Charlie, give me this 10,000 for me for 5 years. Takes a lot. But he doesn't know that 5 years, what he will grasp from being around you will take him to the rest of another 40 years. So you are coming to the point of, again, quick investment, quick money, you know, which is all, again, has affected credibility, integrity, and morality. So people may think, why is this guy talking about morality? Why do they want to talk about virtues? But they fail to realize that each and every one of us, behind the strength behind us, we know is an Almighty.
Amen.
They don't understand that.
Yes, amen.
They don't understand that that is our foundation.
And that's the solid rock that we stand.
So we make that very clear today. And I know, you know how sometimes online we just fellowship for seconds by just sending quotes to each other. That can refresh our spirit and our confidence that we share.
Yes.
Things in semblance.
Yes.
You know. So again, conflict and its resolution, I think, is two different. Okay, conflict resolution being paired. I think we should be using the word conflict and resolution.
Yes, conflict and resolution. Yes. Okay.
Because then it's going to be two different mechanisms. Because you're not going to use a conflict resolution mechanism to just deal with a conflict. And what resolution are you going to find to deal with that conflict if you bring the methodology under one construction? It's difficult. That is why, as I say, in our syllabus, we have problems. Because when you look at it today, business before, we did a little bit of sociology, we did a little bit of philosophy, we did a little bit of psychology. Today, people avoid those modules. They don't do well on it because they have nothing personal to interpret or to say or to transmit. They don't. How many of us can relate to Socrates, to Pluto, to Plato? How many? But for some of us, we find them all fantastic reading. From a young age, from early secondary school, we read them books. So, my dear brother, we only have this opportunity to be with you, and a privilege, because I let them know and see all of that. And I am only just craving, and I do pray that you will now give a little bit more of your time to Africa, calm down much more, try to do much more speaking, and let us try and hold a symposium again in Ghana for West Africa, so we can get all of them to come into Ghana, you know, and share ideologies, for the way forward in building a new concept for business, investment, and entrepreneurship.
Okay, I want to. Have you got a Bible? Yeah.
We should have it somewhere. Manager, don't let me know where the Bible is. Because you all are relying on computer.
Yes. It sounds like, if I'm right, it sounds like we'll come to an end, and one of the most valuable things I want to share that's been my drive is in the Bible. So I need a Bible.
Okay, but at the same time, Mr. Stevens, I mean,
You know what?
come on, I mean,
Really, I'm really enjoying the whole, conversation. I'll call it a dialogue or something like that.
It is.
Yeah, like on conflict resolution, like you rightly said, to solve conflicts, you need to create avenue for dialogue, which I think you pointed on earlier on. So I believe that's the way forward to that, resolving conflicts, in our, sub-region.
Don't come with a clenched fist.
That's right.
and to continue on your experience. He was a banker.
Okay.
On your experience in the sojourning within the banking and financial institution, now you're a businessman, you are able to direct your backbone here as well. At the end of the day, how have you been able, within the conflict of business and your pursuit, how have you been able to pull through? What mechanism? Well, we want to share it openly, like, yes, I've seen it.
Yeah,
What has kept you there? What has sustained you? And what was your drive for you to survive? Because conflict can end in war, can end in your death, can end in your death.
Divorce, war, business breakages.
So if even you survive, sometimes you are down on the ground.
Yes.
well, with
Only
me,
to rise again.
With me, I'll share from my personal point of view.
The Phoenix. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. With me, I would say I give thanks to my late dad because when we were growing up, my dad was a polygamist. We lived with
Several mothers.
mothers in the same house. We never quarrel, but the resilience to the answer I want to give you about how I've been able to survive through this era is that my dad would drive us to the farm, we'll work all day, tired, and then when we are closed, he will tell you what's your age, you mention your age, they give you a small luggage to your, age capacity. And then this old man will drive the empty car home. And we walk like about 80 kilometers from the farm to the house. Man, I always curse him for that. But I did not understand this until I grew up. About my resilience. I mean, I don't give up in life. And I don't let external, situation affect my way of life. Yes. So, to answer to your question, I know that sometimes politicians will create certain avenues for you to function. But it's not all the time that you need to, rely on that. Because I built this through that resiliency, my integrity. In my business life, all I've built is integrity. Because I know when you are truthful to business, customers or clients will always fall on you for that.
Absolutely. No, spot on. Spot on. And can I?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, my dad was a farmer. But he took a different approach. And like you say, you got to give yourself time to understand why. Why did they do what they did? So it took you years, as you just said,
Yes.
to understand why your dad would drive an empty car but give you the load to carry.
Yeah.
Okay. It took me years to also understand why my dad would not let us on the farm, which is something that I detest. But it took me years to understand. So my dad was a farmer, but he wouldn't allow us. We would sit in the barn with our books, but he wouldn't allow us on the field. And that's how I started growing up as a teenager, say 16, 17, 18, 19. I used to detest that because I got to learn that farmers and military people are the most disciplined people, and what you need in your life is discipline.
You got that.
Okay, so I used to detest it. But then 2006, so I said, I know why Dad did not let us on the farm. They were big snakes.
I was scared of them too.
They were big snakes. You understand? And if you run around, and how would he feel if one of them just boom?
No.
You understand?
Okay.
You die. So again, in fact, it brings us back to conflict. So how did I resolve that issue? I resolved it by understanding. My dad did not want to spoil us. He had a security issue. Your dad didn't want to punish you. He wanted you to say, life is hard.
It answered my question.
You understand? Life is hard. Life is not easy. I don't care who you are. So I'm going to train you now so you can learn. Don't think you have a passport to excellence, passport to first class, passport. No, I'm going to show you. I'm going to go home, rent it, I'm going to drive my car, and I'm going to have you put this thing on your head. Now you're saying that thing is what's built you up.
Yeah.
To the conclusion, very fine point. Again, I will refer that to your problem. Why we deal with conflict resolution. It's very important subject. Emanating from the good you did that turned out to be your downfall,
That is very
only
true.
to rise again.
Again.
Fine. You see, all of us have passed through the same, nothing different. So I'm happy that you were not here when we did that from the beginning. You see, when I conclude in bringing that out, that again is what becomes your solid foundation. Because to be generous, to be kind, and turns out in others, to be evil, jealousy, backstabbing, all the negativities out of your goodness becomes very painful. It is a painful lesson in life, but that is the lesson that advances your upliftment. That's right. To a stage of enlightenment. And I believe we've all shared that platform. And that's why we are able to cruise through all the turbulences of life. Like an aircraft in turbulence, it will not crash.
Shake a little bit.
Even the pilot will not even reduce its speed.
Yeah.
It will not. That's what people don't understand. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes some turbulence you need to continue with the same speed. Some turbulence you may need to just reduce your speed, just a little bit, or just drop your altitude. That is it. But your speed should be the same. Majority of the turbulence, the speed are the same because it drives better into the turbulence than try to allow the turbulence to gain a better force on the thrust of the aircraft. This has been our lives. We continue to drive through. Yes. And this is where I will leave him for the closure.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay. Well done. In the first instance, I know there are probably international people that would see this as well, but we're mostly speaking to Sierra Leoneans. In the first instance, as I said about last Wednesday, we're in this multi-billion law firm. As a matter of fact, I'll just keep my words quiet, but the Facebook that you're watching, they represent. So that tells you what I'm talking about.
That's right.
The three keynote speakers in that function were Sierra Leoneans. So what I'll address to State House, for example, if you want to see betterment in Sierra Leone, you need to make a conducive environment where the ones who are performing can come back and do good.
Yes. Yes. Same with Ghana.
You need to do that. Yes. Then there's a couple of things that people say that I want to help out with in finalizing just on 2 points, but I'm going to refer to the Bible.
Yeah.
The first one is Ecclesiastes 10:19. Exactly what we're going to be doing here after this. It says, a feast is made for laughter. Please, it's 3 lines. Bear with me. That means when you have a baby, you celebrate. When you have a new opportunity, you celebrate. You eat. You have your quality friends around you. So a feast is made for laughter. Wine maketh merry. Jesus will not turn water into wine if wine was abusive. But everything in moderation, I understand. I break that rule sometimes.
Well, it's normal anyway.
It's not.
Overdrive.
Overdrive, yes. Turbocharge sometimes. And then, the key word that should make everybody rest, if you're watching this, enlightenment, as Sue said earlier a couple of times, is in the same Ecclesiastes 10:19. It says, but money answers everything. That is so damn true. People will say to you, but not the love of money. It's the love of money. It's the root of all evil. Read it and understand what it says. Okay? Because without money, my grandfather wrote, I swear, he wrote to me, I still have it, based on his own interpretation of Proverbs. Without money, your children will not respect you. Without money, your wife will leave you. Without money, here's the key point, you cannot even influence society without money.
Yes.
You can complain about the healthcare system, about this, about that. You're just talking.
Exactly.
You're just talking. You have to have it. You take it out of your pocket, you help. Okay? So that's the 1 point, Ecclesiastes 10:19. And now the final one, the final game changer. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5-letter word. It's called goals. Harvard Business School did a survey. And they found out that, this is Harvard, of the people that went to Harvard, only 3% set themselves goals. So imagine how much it costs to go to Harvard. Only 3% set goals. Then they broke it down even further. Of that 3%, the 1% that became the 1%ers that the world talks about, you know, Merrill Lynch, this, that, blah, whatever it is they do. Only 1% put a date on it when they're going to achieve their goals. The 0.001%, whatever, if that's right, they're the ones who did what Habakkuk 2 verse 2 said. Habakkuk 2 verse 2 says, I paraphrase, please bear with me. It says, write down your goals and make it plain. So he that readeth it may run. Write it down on tablets. He that readeth it may run. And then he says, do, and this is where lots of people lose it. Though it tarries, it shall surely come.
Yes.
Though it delays, it will come.
Hallelujah.
This is highly prophetic.
So, as we started, we must finish in the same way. Pastor prayed before, but Stephen, you can just say a conclusion and treatment.
Just
Just a prayer in conclusion.
Yes.
Okay,
started
let's bow our heads in prayer.
Yes.
Lord, mighty Father, we thank you for this opportunity. We hope everything we discuss here will come to fruition. Pray that you grant us long life, good health, and whatever goals that we have put on the table today shall be achievable in no time. This is what we ask for your Son, our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, boss.
It's only officially, but unofficially we're still alive. Because it's a day at Transafrica, so
That's right.
until you are en route to the airport, until we can send you back. Until we send him back, because we need to guide him and make sure he bought.
That's right.
Because I don't want to be told.
Where's the flat?
See, I mean, did you see that your brother is stealing? Then I know we are in for another conflict resolution.
It's a very good opportunity.
The last